Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to another episode of Voice of Youth. And today we are back with just an episode of just me and you, the audience out there watching. Because after having that series of episodes where we talked about balancing cultures, balancing practices, balancing your lifestyle as a whole, it seemed like a good time to have a refresher episode of a sort and really just cool things down. And it's going to be a really short episode here because I'm just going to simply be talking about two things. And those two things are the way we can act to try and be more helpful to others, and also a future plan we have for an upcoming episode of Voice of Youth that you all at home can also prepare for. So what I want to talk about today actually goes back to a post I saw on Facebook by someone I know a few months ago. So it was during isolation. So what that post said itself was something along the lines of, if ignoring calls by your boss or something because you want some me time, maybe you don't want to work a few shifts, and the idea of me time is, a huge thing that especially a lot of people probably would have got during isolation. But on top of that, it's something a lot of people also want when you're living your daily life. And I think it's important that everyone has their own me time. But then one other thing that I also thought of when reading that post is how it's important to also try to balance me time with the time we spend with others. So yes, we all have those moments where we want to just spend time just lying in bed, maybe watch something on Netflix, Disney Plus, Stan, whatever you're watching it on. And you're just gonna watch something, just do your own thing. Maybe you don't want to be productive for that day or that afternoon. Maybe you don't want to go into work. And we just have those moments. But there's an important condition to this, which I think, is just good to kind of mention and put out there, that hopefully if you are one of those people out there that wants me time, sometimes you ignore messages, ignore calls. Because the reality of it is that 90% of the time, people in Australia or people in developed countries in a sense, have their phones with them just like here. Here's my phone. It's right beside me. It's almost always with me as I fail to put it back and it falls on the ground. Nonetheless, what I'm trying to get is that we're always there. So if someone sends me a message, 90% of the time I'm going to be having my phone there with me. I might be doing something else and it might be on vibrate, so I might miss it. Or I might be putting it on charge because I've spent the whole night watching anime or something, or watching some show where I just drain the battery dead and I completely fall asleep. But then I'm charging it during the day. And that happens, and sometimes we miss messages or we miss phone calls. But then there are also those times where we purposely ignore a message or call. And the funny thing about it is that when I think about people calling in today's day and age, is more often than not we send messages or we send pre-recorded videos or voice messages, and people don't all that often call. And maybe I'm wrong here, maybe you experience a lot of calls with people friends or family or anything, but then at least from what I've seen and from what I've done, it's more often that you're going to message someone. I spend most of my time with messaging friends more than calling them. It just seems more practical. At the same time, it's also impractical because messages can so easily be misinterpreted. But the point of it is that when you want to have some me time, it's also important to consider the message or the call you're getting. Because when you're getting a call from someone, there's a high chance that something's up. At least in my opinion, and that's the whole point of this episode. This is all my opinion. You can disagree with me, that's totally fine. It's up to you. I'm just sharing my opinion out there. And what happens if someone calls you, at least someone calls me, if one of my friends literally just called me right now, it's like 8 in the morning and I'd be like, okay, something's up, I better pick up and just see what's going on. If someone messaged me right now, I'll check to see the message, and then you can also preview messages. So that's the big thing about Instagram, Facebook, all these things. You can just swipe down or something, you can preview the message, maybe not the whole message, but you can kind of get the gist of what's going on. So like right now, I'm getting ready to go to uni. If someone messaged me and it's something really important, I can preview it, see what it is, I can reply quickly. But if it's something where I can just reply to while I'm on the train to uni because I have some time then I'll go and do it then. You can know when to have me time, but also be considerate about when you use it, because as much as you want to look after yourself, and it's important to look after yourself, it's also important to look after those you care for. And it's about getting that balance. And you can apply that to so many things. Balance, the word balance, the theme, the idea of balance. But in regards to me time, I'm not saying don't have me time. Because if your boss is calling you, I'm pretty sure they're going to be calling you to go into a shift for work. So if you miss that call, it's fine. But if your friend's calling you, if maybe you have family overseas or something, there's a good chance they're calling you for something that's fairly important, at least in my opinion. Once again, you may have different experiences of your own. So I just wanted to put that out there as a little just topic, for a real quick episode, just a refresher, kind of something simple, something we can easily discuss. You can easily talk to someone else about it, and one of your friends maybe you can easily just mention it to them, or I'm gonna start calling you more or something, because maybe you realize that you don't call people enough, or maybe you realize that especially coming out of isolation. I remember I had a call with Gurjot and a few other Sikh friends, and then Gurjot was like, "Man, I haven't heard your voice in so long." And it's so true, because if we've messaged each other, that's the thing, we wouldn't have really called, and then we had that call chat and everything. But yeah, that's just how it goes, really. I think in at least the day and age we're currently in. So with that set aside, you've probably seen it. I don't know if it's in frame right now, but what I wanted to talk about for the second part of this episode essentially was something I have planned for future Voice of Youth episodes, and these are book reviews or book readings. And to really kind of keep it simple for the first one, hopefully for the first few, because I think especially this is the kind of stuff that I really enjoyed being read to me when I was a kid, or reading myself. Comic books. So then there are these cool comic books, Sikh comics. This one here is the Battle of Saragri. If you do have a copy of this, or if you can find a digital one, what we'd like to do, or like to start here, is essentially maybe give 1 or 2 weeks for people to read, because this is an easy, quick read. Maybe you can read it to your child. Maybe not too young, just in case you might think it's a bit much for them at a certain young age. But that's honestly up to you as a parent or sibling. And honestly, what we're going to do, choose a book to read, preferably shorter one, so that we can read it more frequently and get it done within a shorter time frame. We'll get a few people to come on and we'll talk about it, especially when it comes to art books or comic books like this. You have art in it, which you can also talk about. The way history is portrayed, the way the Sikhs are portrayed, and it's a nice way to kind of talk about history with youth. At the same time, do it in a fun, entertaining way, which is just a really good thing to do, I think. So that's what we have planned. We have book readings coming up. Hopefully we can get this one done by the next episode. I'm just seeing how we go with everyone who has exams right now, because some people still have exams going into around when this episode should be going up. So then we'll see if we can record an episode where everyone talks and reviews this comic itself. So if you're at home, have an opportunity, go and read this, get it done. Hopefully it's something you all get into. Let me know in the comment section if you do. Please share this video around and kind of get the word out there so more people can join in and possibly, learn a bit, at the same time have a nice discussion with us. And if you are a youth out there that does actually want to join in on the discussion, maybe you've read it, or maybe you want to read it, please message me, let me know, and we can try to get you on the show as well to feature as a guest in one of the episodes. So with that said, thank you for joining in on this episode. We talked a little bit about me time and also a future plan for an upcoming book read on Voice of Youth itself. What I did say today at the first half of this episode is purely my opinion. Once again, maybe you have experienced something that's different, and honestly, that's great if you do, because different experiences and different lifestyles, all these things, the whole word different is also positive in many ways. So thank you for watching. Once again, please like the video, comment down below, and share it around, and subscribe to the playlist itself to stick around for more Voice of Youth episodes. Thank you so much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.